In the barren salt flats of the Atacama Desert, a silent revolution is underway. This isn't a story about oil armies or traditional empires. It's a story about a soft, silvery white metal lithium. And by 2030, whoever controls this metal will control the global economy. This is the silent war you've never been told about, a battle for the very foundation of our modern world. For a century, oil was the lifeblood of civilization. It fueled our cars, powered our industries, and decided the fate of nations. But that era is ending. Today, a new resource reigns supreme. Every electric vehicle, every smartphone, every grid-scale battery storing solar and wind energy, and even the massive data centers powering artificial intelligence, they all depend on lithium. We've been told this is the key to a green future, a clean break from the dirty geopolitics of fossil fuels. But what if we've just traded one dependency for another, one that's even more fragile and concentrated? The numbers don't lie. Global demand for lithium is exploding, set to increase by over 500% by the end of this decade. Governments around the world are mandating a switch to electric vehicles, with deadlines looming in 2030 and 2035. California, the European Union, Canada, they've all committed. It's a noble goal, but it creates a staggering problem. The supply of lithium simply cannot keep up. We're on a collision course with a global shortage, and the crisis is arriving faster than anyone predicted. The race to go green has created an invisible bottleneck, and the consequences will redefine global power for the next generation. This isn't just about whether you can afford an EV. It's about who holds the keys to the future of energy, technology, and economic dominance. To understand this new world order, you have to look at a map, but not a political one. Look at a map of resources. Deep beneath the high-altitude deserts of Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile lies the Lithium Triangle, home to over half of the world's known lithium reserves. It's a treasure trove that has turned these nations into the new Saudi Arabia of the electric age. But mining the raw material is only the first step. The real power, the real chokehold, lies in the next stage, refining. And here, one country has achieved a level of dominance that makes OPEC look like a casual partnership. While China mines less than 20% of the world's lithium, it refines over 75% of it. Let that sink in. 3 out of every 4 lithium-ion batteries that power our world have passed through Chinese facilities. They don't need to own the mines. They just need to control the processing plants. It's a brilliant long-term strategy executed over decades, involving massive state investment, acquiring foreign companies, and locking in supply deals across the globe. Western nations, meanwhile, are dangerously dependent. The United States, the European Union, they are scrambling to catch up, trying to build their own supply chains from scratch. But it takes years, even a decade, to bring a new mine or refinery online. For now, they are customers in a market dominated by a single strategic rival. Every Western automaker, from Tesla to Ford to Volkswagen, finds itself reliant on this intricate supply chain that snakes back to China. It's a vulnerability that has turned a simple mineral into a powerful geopolitical weapon. Behind closed doors, governments are no longer just negotiating trade deals. They are fighting to secure their nation's energy future. Alliances are being rewritten, and nations are being quietly cornered. This isn't a trade war. It's a resource war, fought not with tanks, but with supply contracts and refining capacity. But the true cost of our lithium addiction isn't just measured in dollars and geopolitical tension. It's paid by the land and the people where this white gold is extracted. In the Lithium Triangle, the mining process is incredibly water-intensive. It requires pumping massive amounts of brine from beneath the salt flats and letting it evaporate in vast ponds. To produce a single ton of lithium, it can take up to 2 million liters of water. This is happening in some of the driest places on Earth. The consequences are devastating. Water tables are dropping, threatening fragile ecosystems and the livelihoods of local and indigenous communities who have lived here for centuries. Farmers watch as their ancestral lands turn to dust, their streams dry up, and their livestock perish. They are being displaced by a global hunger for a mineral that promises a green future for the developed world, but risks creating a barren wasteland in their own backyards. We see headlines about protests and local resistance, but often dismiss them as isolated incidents. They are not. They are the human cost of our electric dreams, a hidden sacrifice made at the altar of clean energy. And this hidden cost is starting to ripple outwards, hitting consumers directly. As demand outstrips supply and geopolitical instability grows, the price of lithium has become incredibly volatile. We've already seen massive price spikes that have added thousands of dollars to the cost of an electric vehicle, temporarily halting the dream of affordable EVs for the masses. The price curve for EVs was supposed to go down, but the lithium bottleneck threatens to send it spiraling back up. What happens when the cost of the battery, the single most expensive component in an EV, is dictated by a handful of players in a volatile market? The green transition becomes a luxury good, accessible only to the wealthy, while everyone else is left behind, stuck with older, more polluting technology. So, where does this leave us as we approach 2030? The silent war is about to get much louder. We are entering a new phase, one defined by three critical trends. First, resource nationalism. Countries in the lithium triangle are waking up to the power they hold. They are no longer content to simply export raw materials for pennies on the dollar. We're seeing moves to nationalize lithium assets, to take state control, and to demand a larger share of the profits. This could lead to the formation of a lithium OPEC, a cartel of producing nations that could collectively control prices and supply, holding the rest of the world hostage, just as oil-producing nations did in the 1970s. Imagine a world where the price of your next car or phone is set not by market forces, but by a political decision made thousands of miles away. Second, the supply chain arms race will intensify. Western nations are desperately pouring billions into building domestic mining and refining capabilities. But China isn't standing still. It will use its current dominance to consolidate its power, locking in future supplies and undercutting new competitors. This sets the stage for a prolonged economic conflict where access to lithium becomes a tool of statecraft. Allies will be rewarded, and rivals will be punished through supply disruptions and price manipulation. Finally, the ultimate endgame may lie not in mining more, but in recycling what we already have. A race is on to perfect the technology for battery recycling. The country that can efficiently and cheaply recover lithium, cobalt, and nickel from old batteries will have created its own domestic circular supply chain. They will be insulated from geopolitical shocks and resource scarcity. The vast stockpiles of used EV batteries and consumer electronics will become the urban mines of the future. This isn't just an environmental solution. It's a national security imperative. The question we must now ask is a profound one. How should we treat lithium? Is it just another commodity like oil to be fought over in a zero-sum game of geopolitical chess? Or should it be treated more like nuclear technology, a resource so critical to global stability that it requires international cooperation, treaties, and oversight to prevent it from being weaponized? The path we choose in the next few years will determine whether the clean energy transition unites the world or tears it further apart. It will decide who leads the 21st century economy and who gets left in the dark. The future is electric, but its power source is political. Thank you for watching. If you found this exploration of our energy future insightful, please subscribe and follow for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world.